Three men are safe at home after getting lost and unexpectedly spending the night on the Superstition Mountains, and it was a cold and stormy night. The hikers were traversing that ridge line when they became lost and overcome by the weather. They were rescued and flown off the mountain this morning.
I'll tell you, as a professional guide, as a hunter, as a botanist who goes out looking for plants and Indian ruins, this is the one mountain range I will not go into alone.
The search continues for three men lost in the Superstition Mountains.
Found dead in the Superstition Mountains.
The four members of the Perry family are among an estimated 100 people who lost their lives in the Superstition Mountains since the early 1800s.
This hiker from Gilbert never made it out of the Superstition Mountains.
Welcome to Enigma Cast, everybody. My name is Joseph. I'm your host. As you know, this is our channel. And tonight we are joined by one of my buddies from up north, the most eligible bachelor out of New Jersey, my man, Sasquatch Steve Taylor. Steve, what's going on, big guy? You staying warm up there, man?
I'm trying. As you may or may not know, we got about a foot of snow up here the other day, and it's been below freezing for 2 weeks straight with no heating up in sight. So we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to stay warm and go from there.
Yeah, bro, I can relate, man. It was 42 today in Florida, man.
Oof, that's rough.
Pray for me.
That's
Pray for
rough.
me, guys. I actually got a blanket on.
I was gonna say, did you need like a light jacket to go through that?
Yes. No, I put a parka on. I brought one of my parkas from up north. I'm walking around and they look at me like I'm crazy, man. Like, no, man. So, like,
that's funny.
yeah. Fun fact, though, I did hear people in Florida talking. It is freezing down here. I didn't know this. A fun fact for Florida before we get into it, but I guess iguanas are a invasive species down here, and this snap cold has frozen them, and they're falling out of trees.
Falling from the trees. I heard about that too. Oh yeah.
And the state is paying bounties for them, man. So people are out here getting paid, rounding up like 100 iguanas and taking them into these locations, man.
Oh my
God. I
God.
was like, no, that's not my thing. Anyways, got a good episode tonight, Steve. It's a subscriber request that came through the channel. I don't want to put them on blast, but if they jump into the comments, I'll say, you know exactly who we're talking about. They asked us to look into this topic, Steve, so why don't you read us into what are we talking about tonight, big guy?
Today we are talking about the Superstition Mountains, or the Superstition Wilderness in general, down in Arizona. There's a lot going on here. When I was doing my research, like, for those of you who watch our show, when Joe and I get together, Joe gives me a topic and we both do our separate research, and we don't convene until right now when we're recording. So when I was looking this up, I mean, there were multiple different stories of different, like, completely unrelated topics going on in this area. So I looked up a couple things. I don't know, we may have gotten the same things, we may not have. So we'll just run through the list and see what we got here.
Yeah, man, that's how we roll, man. We throw it down and then we don't talk, and then we come in and we go at it. And I got to say that after looking into these Superstition Mountains, yeah, this, I did promise at our New Year's Eve show that we would start getting into paranormal. And I tell you what, this checks a few boxes for us there, Steve. So you ready to do this, man?
I am ready.
I got scared. I'm just going around. I'm not running. I got scared. I'm not lying. When I was doing this research on this, and by the time everybody watches this, you'll notice that I created a custom intro for it. Yeah, man, there's some weird stuff down here, man. And again, to get on the show, to talk about a show, for us to talk about it, we have a very low bar. We have a very low bar, right? But you would not, Steve will tell you, and some people don't make it, man. Some of y'all fail that low bar, man. Something strange, some kind of fiduciary, man. Something has to be going on. And then we'll get into it, man. The who, the what, the when, the where's, and what we think it possibly is. So Steve, break us down, son. Where are these Superstition Mountains at, real quick?
They're in Arizona. I don't have an exact,
right.
When I was looking on the map, it seemed to be pretty central to the state. I don't know other than that. I didn't actually look up what county or anything like that. But the area has been long inhabited by Pima and Apache Native American tribes. And as we always do, every episode you and I seem to do, it always comes back to Native American lore. And like you always say, when they tell you to do something, when they tell you to get out, you better listen to what they're saying.
Ignore Native American legends at your own cost. If they say don't go up on Death Mountain, and you do, then you get to figure out why they call it Death Mountain, right? And so that seems to be the exact same with these Superstition Mountains, man. So I was the same way, bro. I didn't pinpoint. I have the coordinates, man, but I didn't want to go. I mean, I didn't want to go into a whole mountain range, but they
Yeah.
are basically east of Phoenix, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly 100,000 acres, 250 square miles is pretty much what
Pretty
it is.
big
man.
area.
Huge, right?
Yeah.
Huge, and very rugged, volcanic rock out
Uh-huh.
there is what they say. Elevation 6,266 feet, or for you Canadians, I like to call you future Americans,
Oh my God.
1,910 meters, right? 1,910 meters for you for you Canadians and you people up there, right? So, and because I am a super nerd and I actually scenario play in my head, and I ask Steve this question all the time, like, okay, if me, Steve, and usually Uncle, Jay's Urban Legends, if we're hiking in this place, we take Jay along because me and Steve can clearly outrun him, no problem, right? Like, shit, man, like we ain't got to be faster than the dudes, man. We got to be faster than Jay.
Yep.
But
Poor
they're
Jay.
saying it's a designated wilderness area with difficult access, limited rescue, centered around the iconic formation of Weaver's Needle. All right.
Yep.
So there you go. That's the detail we're going to get into superstition. And by the way, don't go here, right?
Yeah.
Right, Steve?
You mentioned Weaver's Needle. That plays a big role in a couple of these stories here. I read that Weaver's Needle, it's a large volcanic rock formation, and it's a popular rock climbing destination. But people die out there all the time.
All the time.
They get lost in the terrain. It's rugged terrain. People, it's rough out there. So.
And one of my early theories, Steve, when I was looking into this, I actually think Weaver's Needle is a petrified tree stump.
Yeah, I can see that. I saw the pictures of it.
Yeah, and so that could explain some of the fiduciary that goes on down there. All right, Steve, let's get into it, man.
Before we do, I have to quick apologize to you and to everyone else. Joe, you know me more than anyone else. You know that I am a very organized, neat freak person. So I have
serial killer.
So I have to apologize to everyone. If you're looking behind me, you might see the disgusting mess back here. I cleaned out my fish tank the other day, and I realized I didn't have enough time to clean the whole thing out of my living room before coming on the show. And again, most people probably don't care, but if you know me, this is terrifying me more than this episode back here. So I apologize to everyone.
I didn't want to point it out, man, but I thought to myself, like, did you break out in hives? You guys don't know how, like, I call this I have many, you might not know this. I go hard on my friends, right? So one of my many nicknames for this guy is Dexter, that old Showtime movie, right? It's like, I used to tell Steve, man, like if you ever, again, ancient Enigma files, how to get rid of a body. If you ever need to get rid of a body, call this guy right here, man. He'll come in, dust your house, man, and you'll be good to go, man. I really think that Steve pretends to be a mild-mannered, go to work and do everything right kind of guy, but I'm actually convinced he is actually a cleaner for the CIA, and when hits go wrong, this guy's got to go in and clean up the crime scene and get rid of bodies, man. That's what I think it is, man.
No comment.
Right,
no
Steve,
comment. But
you're
yes,
forgiven this time, son. You're
thank you
forgiven.
so
All right,
much.
let's roll into it. What you got?
Well, like I said, there were when I was doing research, there's a few different stories and legends and tales here. I kind of picked up two of them. Neither one of these really falls into our typical what's the word I'm looking for?
Fiduciary.
Cryptids, yeah, fiduciary. It's more just interesting stories. I figured you'd probably pick up the more that side. So I'm gonna go. Did you cover what's known as the Lost Dutchman's Gold?
No.
Okay, so that's
I went straight to shadow people, demons.
So all right, so I'll start you off with something light then. So one of the very big stories that comes out of Weaver's the Superstition Mountains is the story of the Lost Dutchman's mine. And so there is rumored to be a very rich gold mine somewhere located within the Superstitions that was controlled by the Apache tribe. And then in the 1840s, I'm checking my notes here, the 1840s, a family called the Peralta family from northern Mexico, they discovered the mine and they took it over themselves and they started mining for them, which I'm sure you can imagine did not go over very well with the fierce
Right.
Apache tribes. So in 1948, during an expedition that the Peraltas were taking their gold back down to Mexico, they were ambushed by the Apaches and all killed except for 2 of the Peralta family members who were able to escape back to Mexico. They made it back alive. But today, if you look up in the survival wilderness, that area where it happened is now known as the Massacre grounds, which is
Oh
pretty
wow.
pretty fitting. But from this point in the story, there's 2 kind of splits. Obviously this is over 150 years ago, almost 200 years ago that this happened, but the story kind of splits, but both involve a German immigrant named Jacob Waltz. One version, in the 1870s, Waltz discovered the location of the mine through the aid of a Peralta descendant, and he had a partner, and him and the partner worked the mine, and they were able to remove large amounts of gold, and they hid caches of gold throughout the Superstition Wilderness because, they didn't really have anywhere to put it, but they took a lot. But after some time, the partner was killed, some believe by the Apaches, or some believe by Waltz himself trying to take all the gold. So that's one way the story goes. The other story is that Waltz, again, in the 1870s, was employed at a mining company, and the mining company found the mine. And during this time, off on the side, he was taking gold out of the mine and hiding it around, specifically around Weaver's Needle. Again, what's the big point? But regardless of which story you follow, they both convene in the fact that in 1891 there was a catastrophic flood in Phoenix, and it destroyed Waltz's farm, everything, and he came down with pneumonia. And he was old, he was getting pretty old at this point, and he was taken care of by his neighbor named Julia Thomas. And on his deathbed, he told Thomas about these caches of gold, and tried to explain to her where it all was. And she went out to try and find it, was able to find it, and told all the people around it. To this day, people still go out looking for Joseph Waltz's gold. It's known as the Lost Dutchman's gold. And to this day, people are still out there looking for it. But again, it brings to the point that Weaver's Needle is where the most is known area that people are looking for the gold, and people are out there dying in search of these gold caches, which is pretty crazy. And you
That's
can
crazy.
actually, Waltz's grave, his grave is still accessible. You can still go visit it. It's in what's now the Pioneer and Military Memorial Cemetery in Phoenix. And I saw pictures of it, and it's just this little dinky headstone on a rock, but it's there. It's really cool. It's pretty cool.
The gold's in the casket, y'all.
Yeah.
Gold's in the casket. I'll be out there tomorrow trying to go through it.
That is really funny.
So quick question here before we change gears on that. You think that could have anything to do with I looked it up, man, and on average 4 to 5 people a year are murdered in this Superstition Mountains. They're just dead, right?
Yeah, it could be because and that's I had notes somewhere else that there was people have been this now been over 100 and almost 50 years that people are still going and looking for this gold. And there's documented cases of people who have specifically said they're going to find his gold and they never came back.
Never come back. Yeah. So one of the cases I saw in here was some dude went up there looking. It said he was camping up there, and they found his head 2 weeks later with 2 bullet holes in the back of his head. Right, and I was like, okay, I thought that was all right. Well, that's just,
it certainly could be related to that.
Out there claim jumping or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now what I didn't know, I didn't come across the Lost Dutchman's freaking the gold stuff. But what I did come across is that, wow, man, this mountain dude sounds to me like it could be just as weird or strange or more strange than the Mount Shasta out there in California, the stuff that goes on out there, right? The indigenous people out there, I think you called them what do you call it? The Odoms, the Pimas?
Yeah, I had Pimas and Apaches down.
Pimas and Apaches, right?
Yeah.
So what they did is they said that to stay off the mountain completely because of strange sounds, people disappearing, and mysterious death. and also ongoing fear of the mountain, right? Local farmers later adopted the superstition. They put it on around, it said in the 1800s, right?
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that they were saying up there is that the Pima actually speak of again, this is I didn't know about that gold, man, but like that adds another thing that I'm about to get into later into it, like this gold deposits up there. The Pima says the mountain is possessed, basically, for lack of a primitive word, man, of a malevolent presence, right? Just an evil, an old hate of stuff, right? And it includes linked to legend cycle includes a hawk, sometimes described as a devil, right? An H-A-U-K, like a hawk. They say like not a hawk with wings, but like H-A-U-K, right? Like I said, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But they say that a devil's in that mountain, right? And it's important because this is where I'm gonna play this out as we go along right here. They say that the devil, there's a devil that lives in the mountain, and it's responsible for all this weird stuff that goes on there, right? And they also refer to it as a threatening predatory force, and they give like clear warnings about not to go on this mountain, period, ever, right? And right there made me link, before we move on, man, that made me link into like several other mountains, Mount Shasta, the Appalachian Mountains. You go over to, I think it was Mount where the Watchers came down, Mount Hermon, or I always mess that mountain up, right? But if you go also to the Himalayas, man, there's a mountain up there where supposedly you can't climb. It's never been climbed. You got to get special permission, where they say Shiva actually lives inside that mountain, right? So yeah, man, that's just weird, dude, that would explain.
Yeah.
I mean, like 150 years and this thing still knows no chill, because people still go up there and they still get wiped out, man. And again, I can't figure, look, it ain't worth it.
Yeah.
No, it ain't worth it, man. Like, find that gold all you want, man. Like, but wow.
And
anyways,
I would say I don't want to cut you off if you're moving on to something else, but it's funny that you mentioned that the Pimas believe in this evil presence living in Superstition Mountain, because the Apaches, I don't know if you saw the Apaches, something very similar. They believe living again within Superstition Mountain is what they dub the Thunder God. And it's the same idea. According to lore, during the hot summer months, the Thunder God makes his presence known by creating these loud thunder and crashing. And they believe that he places a curse of death on anyone who tries to enter the realm. And, as again, over these 150, 200 years, there have been so many unexplained deaths, or just deaths of things. The Apaches will attribute their deaths to this curse of death. So it's interesting that the two tribes have something kind of similar regarding that same mountain.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, like, I know what's living in that mountain. I'm going to tell you at the end. So stick around.
I can't wait.
I brought some receipts. So yeah, so shifting on that, man, I also came across this mountain has legitimate, well documented as recently as last month, believe it or not. Incredible paranormal sightings that go on in there. And I just got here's some of the things they talk about that's been reported by hikers, ranchers, search and rescue personnel, and locals. And the person who in the comments asked us to dig into Superstition Mountain, she lives there. She lives in that area, right? Yeah. And so she's like, hey, you guys need to check this out, right? So, hey, we're doing this just for you, right? Because again, I'm good at fighting people, bad at fighting ghosts. So look, right? They say it. So they report on this mountain, man. And again, this mountain has a same type of quality that's reported sometimes out of the Appalachian Mountain. More oftentimes out of there is a people hiking in for no reason, being filled with an overwhelming sense of dread, just dread, like for no reason, like some type of like emotional feeling washes over them. And again, this isn't anxiety they're having. They're saying dread, like a dread, like I'm doomed, right? And they often report looking up and seeing dark humanoid shaped figures seen on the ridge lines between rock formations, always from a elevated position that they are. And the sightings occur more often during the dawn and dusk hours. There's no sound, there's no approach, there's no tracks, right? And again, these things don't attack them. They say they feel like they're being watched, and they go out of their way, they say, to be seen, right? But before they see these shadow people, right, they say they have this feeling
They can
of,
feel it, yeah.
dread, right?
Huh.
They come into them, right? And man, I was like, okay. So, and then on top of that, they also report, and this happens a lot in the Appalachian Mountains, voices calling names, not
Mhm.
necessarily their name, but
Mhm.
like a name, right? Hearing voices calling their name. Hikers report hearing what sounds like other hikers walking up on them,
Mhm.
and they turn around and
And there's
there's
no
nothing
one.
there.
Hmm.
Right? Did you pick this up as well?
No,
Did you hear this?
I didn't see this. This is interesting though.
Yeah. Rocks being moved or knocked all together, just rock movement around.
Uh-huh.
And again, this one right here too is a crazy one right now as well. Is they hear whistling, right? Whistling. You never whistle. You never supposed to whistle. There's, a matter of fact, if you want to be scared before you go to sleep, we should actually do. Since we're getting into the paranormal stuff a little bit on this channel, we should look this up, man. Go type into YouTube, never whistle in the Appalachians, something like that. Just never whistle.
Mhm.
Why you don't do it, right? And they also report, bro, hearing chanting sounds.
Huh.
Yeah, strange chanting sounds that they report hearing when they're up there in these
Mhm.
mountains, right? To do with it. And again, if you watch this channel at all, you'll hear me and this guy say this a lot. I have no idea where that's coming from, right? I have no idea, right?
Yeah.
Like I know that, except I do kind of have maybe an idea where it came from. But again, this is just me speculating. Up East Tennessee, where I grew up in the tip, we're on the Virginia, North Carolina border. That was Cherokee territory, right?
Mhm.
And as long if you head south down towards the Georgia and North Carolina border, that was Choctaw, right? And we've talked about how the Choctaw had relocated to Oklahoma, and there was all the weird stuff that they
Yep.
had to encounter, right?
Mhm.
But these Apache, I know that the Apache were I've always said the Cherokee and the Choctaw were serious, fighters, right?
Mhm.
But so were the Apache because they went to war a lot with the Comanche, right? And the
Mhm.
Comanche, they knew no chill, right?
Yeah.
Right. So they knew no chill right there.
Mhm.
So, and they were not beyond using their, I don't know, their shamans, their medicine men, right? To call upon like evil spirits and evil
Mhm.
forces to fight for them. In fact, if you look at Skinwalker Ranch, that is the baseline premises of how that place got so messed up. I
Mhm.
want to say that the Hopi were actually having problems with the Apache, I think it was,
Uh-huh.
or maybe the Comanche, and they're the ones that put the curse on Skinwalker Ranch out there in Utah, right? If anybody knows the two tribes that were fighting out there in Utah, please throw that in the comments for us. I'm sure I got that wrong, and it will hurt somebody's feelings. Anyway, so yeah, yeah, man. So there's a paranormal aspect to it, and there is I guess a full on, again, we can never rule out like, the human aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
About how they could be like just bad people working out there trying to find gold or trying
Yeah.
to find information or something on that, man. That's wild, bro.
Mhm.
All right, I want to stop now. No, I want to see this through. Let's see this through, man. What else you got for me, though, bro? What else you got, man?
The only other thing, and I couldn't really find too much like anything lengthy written about it, but just the fact that this is something that they believe is again the Apaches. They believe that somewhere within the Superstition Wilderness, they don't know exactly where, they believe that there is a large hole in the ground that goes directly to what they call the lower world or hell.
Mhm.
And they believe that strong, hot winds blow out of this hole in the ground, and that's what causes all the dust storms and windstorms in the area over the years. And that's just, they believe that that's, um, again, somewhere within the wilderness causing all that out there.
Oh, hold that thought.
I
'Cause I
will.
got receipts on hold that I got
Okay.
receipts on that, man. Hold that
Good,
thought on
good,
that,
good.
yeah. So, check this out, right? So,
Mhm.
when I was looking into it as well, so we have the murders that take the place on there, and again, you can't rule out all these disappearances being something weird, man. There's clearly a human demons don't use bullets, and there's people with getting double tapped in their
Yeah.
skulls out there, right?
And
Yeah.
one thing again, one thing I was seeing is, when you think about it, we're talking the mid to late, the late 1800s. This is still really the Wild West out there,
Yeah.
and there's countless people out there searching for gold in a vast wilderness area, and they all want it for themselves. So, people are out there with their rifles, and they see someone that they don't want finding the gold, and they take them out. I'm
And there
sure it
ain't no
happens.
911. You're
Exactly.
911. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what they figure that happens a lot out there, because of all this. So
Real life Red Dawn
Red Dead
Redemption, Red
Redemption,
Dead
yeah,
Redemption, or whatever
yeah,
that's out there,
yeah.
right? Going on
Really,
there, right? Yeah.
that's the time period. That's exactly what it was out there. So,
Yeah. And check this out, bro. So yeah. And again, this mountain has a lot of similarities to Mount Shasta because also this mountain has an incredible amount of orb, UFO, UAP phenomena associated with it, just like they report over Skinwalker Ranch out there in Utah, just like is reported a lot over Mount Shasta in California, just like that's reported over the Brown Mountains in Western North Carolina. To the point of, bro, that these guys, hikers, have been up there and reported. I wrote this down, man, because this is another. I've actually seen this happen 2 other times, but not obviously. This is the first time I've looked at this mountain. Hikers have reported losing time, right?
Huh.
And also, they've reported traveling short distances that take far longer than expected. And when you look at that, right, another one they talk about is that watches and GPS times not matching previous durations or coordinates that you plug in that you're supposed to match, right? Again, I've never hiked this place before, but they also report equipment failure, compasses spinning and failing, GPS devices just totally just ceasing to exist, right? And this is another one too that I've seen reported as well in the Appalachians and in the Manistee National Forest up in Michigan, which is nowhere near this place. The trails appearing to change almost like a tunnel or all of a sudden just ending unexpectedly where it didn't appear to end unexpectedly, right? So you have orb activity, UFO, UAP activity. You have missing time distortion is the word that they're looking for, right? Like me and you should be walking 1 mile and it should take us, I don't know, us leisurely strolling 8 minutes, and we're 30 minutes into it and we're still not done with this 1 mile, right?
Right.
That's the type of reports that were coming out, right, with these guys, right? And it makes me, again, I'm going to tie this all in a neat little bun to get down here at the very end of it, right? But the strange lights as well are another phenomenon that's reported throughout all the Appalachians. In fact, in Johnson City, Tennessee, where my relatives live, my aunt had, and many people, my aunt had told me stories. My grandmother had told me stories where they'd be sitting in their house and look at the house across the street, and a dang orb would be walking through the person's house. Or you would have people come in from out of town. There's a college there called East Tennessee State University, right? And it's got a pretty serious medical program. And so you would have these, Koreans would go to school there and they would buy a house in that area and try to renovate it. And they would leave because the house was haunted, right? It's a true story. I'm not making this up, man.
No, I believe
they
it.
were just like, yeah, I'm not staying, right? So these lights and so that's why these orbs that they see on the mountain, man, they're not the same thing that they're seeing in the sky. It's actually 2 different things, right? And the strange lights are reported, man, also at odd locations, is from what I wrote down, man. Obviously, they're brighter at night, not exclusive to at night, but brighter at night. seeing them in remote canyons, moving along cliff faces, and they were describing them, the people, this for, the thoroughness, we call them orbs, but other people describe them as floating lights, slow moving or hovering orbs, and lights that extinguish suddenly when approached. That they just, phase out, right? So yeah, bro, like this thing is checking a lot of weird boxes, bro.
It's hitting like in different directions. You got supernatural, you have orbs, UFOs, Indian lore, all sorts of stuff. Gates to hell.
Man, like it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, so I was expecting and strange thing is that I couldn't find any Bigfoot sightings on this thing, man. Like I thought that was next. I'm like,
that's the one thing that's not there.
Yeah, there's one thing that's not there, man. Like I was like, okay. I thought that was I thought that was strange.
What a fitting name for the area, though, right? you can't get any more on the nose than that.
Yeah, I actually think they're downplaying it. Like,
seriously,
like Superstition Mountain's like, no, this is like for real. Like this, you'll die mountain, right? Like, yeah, it'll die, right? Yeah. So it's like them really old cartoons where that coyote's chasing that bird, right? And it's like, turn around, don't go back, you're about to die. Right? So like, in my mind, that's what I vision. Like every quarter mile on this hike up there would do it, right? But here, man, it gets even weirder, though. It gets even weirder, though. Put that on a t-shirt. Weirder, though.
It gets
I like that. Even weirder, though, right? I forgot my pause there.
Thank you.
People describe, man, and this is really weird right here, man. People describe rapid temperature drops, right? And I know I have a buddy who lives out in Arizona near Phoenix, and he's really big into rock climbing, right? And I just told him he's just waiting to lose fingers to rattlesnakes, but whatever. you do you, granola. Jay knows him, right? Jay's good buddies with him too, right?
That's funny.
And rapid temperature drops during the day out there, especially in the summertime, just doesn't happen, right? It's not happening, man, right? It is a dry heat, and it gets really cold at night, right? Because there's no humidity. But another thing to talk about is that hiking along, people describe that they encounter what they, described it best as dead zones, right? Where all of a sudden they could hear no sound. They would describe hearing a ringing in their ear. Like, I don't know if you've ever been real quiet, right?
Yeah.
No insects, no birds. And again, when this encounters, they report the same thing as they feel that dread, like another overwhelming sense of dread, right? And it says, I thought this was funny. I don't know why I wrote this down. This is just me just in my zone. It says, this is my notes for that. These sensations often precede people leaving the area abruptly. I literally wrote that down.
I love that.
Yeah, man. This is abruptly. We're out of here, right? So they move, bro. Yeah, bro. And these unexpected and these lights, right, that they see, right? These unexplained lights, right? And again, these lights they see, this is the most reported phenomenon, believe it or not, right? Is these lights. And they're described as bright white, amber, bluish, slow, deliberate movement, sudden stops, sharp directional changes, lights entering or emerging from canyons or ridge lines, right? And bro, it gets weirder, right?
I love it. Keep it coming.
It gets weirder. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So not only is this mountain, the Superstition Mountain, that all this fiduciary going on up there, right? And again, this mountain and this lore of the Superstition Mountains. I just talked about something a couple episodes ago, man, about pattern recognition, right? Things that cross space, time, culture, language, religion, or whatever. Bro, they've been reporting weird stuff out there in this mountain. I stopped going back right around post World War II era, right? From the 30s, the 70s, the 90s, all the way to 2000s, and freaking last month in January, people were talking about it there, right? This isn't a single flap, man. It is a persistent background. I wouldn't even call it a background, man. This anymore from what this conversation that we're having. This is a persistent phenomenon, man. This is constantly going on, man. Constantly going on, right? And Yeah, man. I think that this meets our very low bar of some weird stuff's going on out there in the superstition
Absolutely.
world.
I mean, we could look at any one of these single stories and say it
Yeah,
meets the bar, but we've got like 5 different things going on.
yeah, man. So the question I always ask, man, before I really for I shift gears into the just the freaking weirdness of it all,
Mhm.
would you go here?
Would I go here? Yeah, I think I'd check it out. I mean,
Really?
yeah, because there's no Bigfoots or dogmen or anything running around. This is more just it's a weird area. I think I could handle
Right.
that. I could handle that.
So here's me, right? Here's my take on that.
Mhm.
I would go there, but I would have to reach out to our one of our channel
Uh-huh.
followers here that asked us to do this, and I want to go with a local. We're going to
Yeah.
go during the day.
Get a
I'm
tour
not
guide. Yeah.
camping, and you guys believe I'm gonna be strapped up. Now we're gonna strapped up, right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, I would go there and check it out, man. But hold that thought, dog.
Okay.
Now at this point, everybody, you guys have asked me to get into this type of stuff. I'm gonna get into it now. So put your kids to bed because it's about to
Uh-oh.
get PG. It's about to get PG-13. It's about to get a little weird, right?
Mhm.
So during my research on this mountain, Steve,
Uh-huh.
and I was looking at that weaver's needle. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And I thought to myself that looks like a petrified tree stump that you can see all over the world, right?
Uh-huh.
So I decided to break out the map and the ruler because, we had a little bit extra time to prepare. And if I told you that Superstition Mountain was laid directly on a ley line that lines up with the following mountains: Sedona, Mount Shasta, Chaco Canyon, and Teotihuacan, that this thing lines up on a mountain
Mhm.
on like if you don't know what a ley line is, everybody, modern science won't tell you all that stuff, but the earth has natural energy sources that run around, Stonehenge or whatever, man, all these parallels that run around, right? So you can look them up on your own, break out the map, and this mountain is very near, if not smack dab right in the middle of this ley line that lines up across across
Across a
the
whole range of them there. Yeah.
whole range of them, right? And every one of those mountains I talked about is just Fiduciary Central, right? So I also looked on something else, right? I
Mhm.
looked on, okay, man, like if this thing lays on a ley line and this was, something, pre-flood, that was a lush area, and that was a giant tree that was, been chopped down or
Mhm.
by a Nephilim or something like that. Has there ever been any history of people living on this mountain? I couldn't find any. However, I found a lot of reports of people saying they found doors carved into the stone,
Hmm.
right? Doors, right?
Yeah.
And again, I just dismissed that as we went along, right? And then, you know, there's constantly 4 to 5 people missing a year up there. Often only their heads are found. I'm like, okay, maybe there's some kind of scavenger animal out there
Mhm.
or whatever. So when you talk about the hot air blowing out from underneath this mountain
Uh-huh.
and people hearing these strange noises, and now that I look at it's on a ley line, I was just about to wrap it up right there. And I came across a story, everybody. I came across a story, right? That went down in the early 90s, right? Of a woman who lived, I don't know if she still lives there. She lives in this place called Apache Junction,
Mhm.
right? And I'm going to tell this story. It's not going to be the weirdest story that you've ever heard me tell on this channel, but however, I think it's going to answer a lot of questions as we move along, right? This woman was telling a story that she wanted to go for a quick hike on Superstition Mountains.
Mhm.
She went again. I don't know why she would decide to do this, but she went by herself, right?
Mhm.
Right. So she gets up there. She lived in Apache Junction. I don't think Apache Junction is too far away from this area that she was going. So she did.
Uh-huh.
So she get up there and she was going up there to look for rocks. She wanted to find some cool rocks to paint. Did you hear the story, Steve?
No, I didn't hear this one.
All right. Well, this story's freaking wild. It's gonna play into some field research that you've done in previous episodes, though. She wanted to find some rocks.
Uh-huh.
Right. So she went up there. She was looking for some rocks or whatever. She couldn't find any. She couldn't come across anything that she liked. However, what she did see when she was on one hiking path over here, across the way, she said she saw this massive quartz, huge quartz, right? Like this thing quartz. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? So she makes her way down into a ridge, makes her way back up the other ridge. She gets over there. This thing is massive, dude. It's like she describes it almost as like a boulder, right? Like this big, massive rock of quartz, right? So she can't pick it up and carry it out. So she said, I'm going to break some off. So she decides to pick up a rock and she starts to try to chip away at this quartz. And about that time, she said that she felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Looked up, and in front of her, she saw the shadow figure was not right on top of her, but it was from there. And then she described something put a hand on her shoulder, and as she spun around, she blacked out. Right? Now, she claims that she woke up sometime later in a cave, laying on her back on a flat stone. She was covered in what she described as a saran wrap type, material, very thin. She could breathe. And what happened is that she could not move her body. This little thin material was holding her down. She says she looked up. She was not paralyzed. She just couldn't move. She was being restrained. She looked to her right, and standing over and to her right was 7-foot tall lizard people. That's what she said, man. This is what she said. They were 7 foot tall. They had yellow eyes, vertical pupils. Their skin appeared to look like scales. They had human-like hands with claws at the end of them. They were wearing uniforms. And they had she described this, right? A 7-pointed star with a dragon carved around it and some type of scarf over their shoulders, right? Like a sash, I guess is what it would be, right? She starts screaming, obviously, right? She starts screaming. She says when she did that, a 7-foot tall white reptilian wearing an orange uniform with different emblems on it approached her, put a small box on her forehead, right? And when he did, she started to calm down, and he was telling her somehow, just relax. We're not going to hurt you. X, Y, and Z, right? Is what he was telling her, right? And she was calming down a little bit, starting to calm down a little bit, right? Then she said that one of the other reptilians came out and was going to mate with her. Right? I'm using this. I want to keep this episode up, right? She had a crazy adrenaline rush. She could shake her head, the box flies off, and when she did, the box flew off. Somehow, the film that was on her loosened up where she was able to get an arm out, right? And when she did, she said one of the other lizards in the corner zapped her with something, hit her in the chest, and it felt like her entire body was on fire, right? Right. And then she blacked out. Then she said, the next thing she knows, she woke up, she's driving back in her car to Apache Junction, right? Now, she went home. She knew she had she didn't have total memory loss. She remembered everything except the point where after she got zapped, and she didn't know how she got in the car, right? She recalled everything else, right? Couldn't go into work, couldn't do anything right, several days or whatnot. This was starting to affect her life, man. 3 months, 6 months, she wasn't recovering. She finally went to a psychiatrist. And I don't know how people even come across these individuals, right? But the psychiatrist performed a reverse hypnosis on it. And she recalled that after she was zapped, she was mated by one of these reptilians in here. And it actually made me think of you.
Yeah. Well,
that sounded a lot bad. That sounded worse than it meant, right? That sounded worse than it. That sounded worse than it sounded right there. Because one time we were doing a show, and you brought me a story. Do you remember the story you brought me?
I remember doing an episode about reptilians, but I don't remember.
You brought me a story about this girl in England who said that she willingly partcited. Do you remember
You're
that?
right. Now, yes, I do. I don't remember the details, but now that you say that, yes.
You told me a story where this girl said she woke up, she was being visited by these reptilians. She woke up several nights in a row. It's one of our episodes. It's one of our more popular episodes too. If you want to watch this, guys, just hit the Enigma cast archives in there. Look for One-Eyed Willie over there, and you'll find him on the She said that it took her to like a cave or something like that, where other reptilians were there. It put its hand on its back and activated the reptilian DNA that was in her, and she mated with these iguanas, for lack of a better. I don't know what you want to call them, right? But she mated with them, right? And she goes back.
Oh man!
And so, bro, man, that triggered a memory. So I just did a quick like a quick little, high-end skim, right? And there is, I would say, a higher than average number of females reporting that they have had lizard man encounters.
They're getting it on with the lizard men,
I guess, man. Right? So yeah. So I mean, I don't even have the vocabulary to describe that. I don't even know what that means, right? But now let's put this all together, right?
Yes.
When you go back and you look at the Hopi, I think it was the Hopi. Pretty sure it's the Hopi. The Hopi origin story is that they were brought out of a hole in the Grand Canyon by the ant people, right? After the Great Deluge. And they call them the ant people not because they look like ants. It's because they live like ants. They have these great giant catacombs, right? We did an episode on it, man. And a guy found it in 1913 or 1919 or whatever. And he's talking about these Egyptian-like hieroglyphs that were in there. And the Hopi described them as, wait for it, shape-shifting reptilians, right? They could take on human form. The exact same creatures or beings that you see inside this mountain, reportedly, right, out there at Superstition Mountain. And it always goes back to the Bible for me. In the book of Genesis, it talks about Eve being, tempted by what? A snake. And I've never thought it was a snake. I've always thought it was a reptilian, right? The whole reptilian things, right? And then when you go and look into, we've had people come on the show and they want to talk about, I can't say this without smiling, so don't get mad at me, the Galactic Federation. Now, look, it is what it is, man. We don't judge here, right? Because I say some weird stuff too, right? I don't judge here, right? Talking about these weird things going on or whatever, right? And about how, even when, this is a good thing too, even when Jesus was going, he was cussing out the Pharisees. He referred to them as their father Satan, your vipers, right? Called them snakes, right? Or whatever. But there's also the gold aspect of it, right? When you go and look at the Anunnaki, man, or the, the Sumerian tablets, man, they were down there everywhere the gold's at, right? So like if this mountain has, which I probably still does, has a massive amount of gold inside, right? People are talking about seeing all this paranormal activity, these orbs, these UAPs, right? Hearing these noises, the sense of dread, and then you're hearing all of a sudden that there's something, again, what were their names real quick? The Apache and
the
the
Apache and the Pima.
Talking about something, a devil's living in the mountain, right? A spirit living in the mountain, right? It all comes back. And also we also know that looking into this mountain, that there's a physical aspect to it as well. There's a physical there. Like people are dying. That's not a joke, man. The people are dying on this mountain, right? And they're going in there or whatever. And there's a lot of unexplained, mysterious deaths. Again, some of it obviously is humans, right? Some of it's obviously, people doing bad things up there.
And some of the people inexperienced climbers and stuff like that. It happens, but it doesn't always account for everything.
You don't always get kidnapped and mated by reptilian people, but sometimes it happens, right? It went on there.
It's a non-zero chance of happening.
It's a non-zero chance that you might go up there and meet the love of your life. For all I know, I don't know what's going on up there, right?
From what I've learned on some of your previous posts, for all I know, it could be Adele or Justin Bieber.
It could be. I got shadow banned.
Known shapeshifters. Yeah.
Yes, I got shadow banned on Instagram, man, for pointing out that Adele shapeshifted into a reptile in New Zealand, and they reported it on the news.
I love that story.
I'm not making this up, man. It was on the news, right? And then she's disappeared now. It happened again in England, and she's disappeared. No one can find her. That's it. Find Adele. And I've had several people on all my channels, right? I didn't intend to take this conversation here, but I've had several people reach out to me and say, hey, look, man, I've seen them myself, right? And I'm like, hey, man, cool. Here's the t-shirt. That's how I roll, right? I want no smoke, right? But also I got in trouble, not in trouble, but I had to write a shadow ban for reporting on Princess Diana saying that all the royals were reptiles. She said that, not me. They're not human, right? She said that, right?
Yeah.
Princess Diana said that, right? To her best friend or whatever. And you go, and then you start going down that rabbit hole of the blue bloods. Why they call them the blue bloods, right? And it leads into a whole bunch of fiduciary on that. But to me, I thought that was I found that odd, Steve, that came up during my research on there about that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that when you just pulled that one out.
Me neither. I wasn't expecting either on that, right? So, but I was like, okay. I thought the mountain might be haunted, but now, now to me, I'm 100% leaning towards that. There is, again, I call them demons, call them aliens, call them whatever. I call them the not us's. There's a not us element down there. It checks a lot of boxes on that, right? To go into it. But yeah, bro, that right there in a nutshell is the fiduciary known as the Superstition Mountains, right?
That's certainly a wild area. Surprised I never heard of it before. It seems like there's a lot going on there. We would have come across that before.
Yeah, every time I made a comment yesterday, every time I feel like I've got to wrap on my hands around on the stuff we talk about, I get humbled. I get humbled. Right? Like, all right, man. Again, me and this guy right here, we actually got a project that we're going to start working on here. Where we're just going to go by every state, and we're going to go by every state, man, and tell you the reasons why not to go there. I can tell you why to stay out of Oklahoma. Don't go to Oklahoma ever, especially LaFleur County, right? Where don't go down there. Right?
Yeah, no, you're going to rip
LaFleur
apart.
County. Yeah. Don't go there. And I'm thinking stay out of the Superstition Mountains. Don't go to Mount Shasta as well. And if you want to, there's Pugwatchies in Massachusetts. Where's that, Steve?
Yeah. New England, Massachusetts. Yep.
Yeah, there's Pugwatchies up there, man.
I love my Pugwatchies.
Nantucket.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's Pugwatchies everywhere. Or Duendes everywhere, man. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what's going on, but stuff's going on. Anyways, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe? I always got to ask you that on this. Now, hold on. Now, this right here is so we're expanding in 2026. We are expanding Steve's palette, right? Normally, I bring him in on the cryptids, but my man over here wants to get in on the spooky stuff now. He wants to do the paranormal, get in on the aliens, drift back and forth.
All right, I'll break it down section by section that we talked about tonight. So the first one I'll talk about is, again, not as wild as some of the stuff you brought up, but the Lost Dutchman's gold mine. Believe it or not, finally there's something I can get behind. There's something on there. I certainly believe that there's proof that Joseph Waltz or Jacob Waltz existed. We know there's records of him getting sick and being taken care of by Julia Thomas, who also existed. I don't understand why he would just make something. I mean, this woman took care of him, and he was trying to do right by her and telling her, "Hey, I've got this gold. Here it is." That doesn't seem like something he would make up. So I can certainly believe that that was legit. That definitely happened. Whether or not anyone's ever found it, who knows? But people still are out there looking for it. I can
Right.
get behind that one. That
There you
to me,
go.
that
All
happened.
right.
I think that's the first time in all. I
It
give
is
that
right
one.
there.
I give
That's
that one. I believe it.
yeah.
Um, some of the other stuff, we talk about the thunder god and the demon living in the mountains. I attribute that to more just them not understanding it. Native Americans not understanding what thunder
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
But I enjoy learning about the lore of these different tribes. I think we get some really interesting stories
Oh yeah.
coming from them, things I'd never heard of before, and I really enjoy that. Um, the Reptilians, I think, is a little bit far-fetched. Woman going
Right.
and
Yeah.
getting mated by Reptilians under a blanket of saran wrap in the middle of a cave. Certainly out there. But now, as you mentioned, we are expanding into a bit more of the paranormal stuff, and that's something I can usually get a little bit more
Mhm.
behind. Um, uh, it just that the orbs, and then that just kind of, again, that sense, the things people just experience and feel, that I can get behind. That's something I believe. So,
Oof.
we're in a mixed bag on this one. Here on this one,
I like it, man. I like
yeah,
it. So yeah. So I like that's solid answers from you, man. So for me, you already know my answer, right?
yeah, 100% on all of them.
It's all real. Don't go there. Do not go to Superstition Mountains at all. Don't go there at all. Look, you will die. They won't. You're either gonna get. You're either gonna shacked up with a lizard dude, or they're gonna shoot you and cut your head off. You ain't gonna find no gold, right?
Mm-mm.
It ain't worth it, man. There's other places to hike, man. So stay out of that place, man. 100%, man. This place is real, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I found funny about this story only thing I found funny about this whole reporting is that in my mind, when what's his name, the Dutchman,
Oh, Jacob Waltz.
when Jacob Waltz died, he said this to everybody: "The money's under the."
Yeah.
That's it. Right?
Yep. Yep.
Under what?
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, man. That's the only thing I find amusing about the Superstition Mountains, man.
Yeah.
Now, again, if I went out there and hiking, if I heard somebody, I'm like, oh, he's trying to shoot me in my head. Right? This guy's trying to shoot me in my head, right?
Yep.
So yeah, bro, this place is real. Fiduciary is real. 10 out of 10. I would go hiking there on a day trip, maybe, as long as I had a local guide. And we were in there in a group of 2 or 3 of us, man, I'd be all right, man. I'm not ever doing no solo stuff up there, bro.
Nope.
But yeah. But this is good to go. All right, Steve. Man,
Yes, sir.
have we found a new niche for you, bro? The paranormal, the spooky
Yeah,
stuff.
we could get into that a little bit more. You might get me on board a little more with that.
All right, man. So right, so we're gonna work on that, man. We got a few more requests, man. Some of these things are dark though, man. You might be you and Jay doing it by yourself.
You only bring me on for the dark episodes. What are you talking about?
I know, man.
Every episode,
Again,
someone's getting killed, ripped apart by a Bigfoot, or eaten by a dog, man. Every single time.
Yeah, I thought that too, man. Like when I was doing my research, like, dang, man, like they're dropping them like 3 a day out there in this thing, right? I was like, all right, man. So hey, right up your alley, bro. So anyway, you're built tough, man. You're built tough.
That's
so,
right.
Steve, you got anything before we roll?
That's it for me.
All right, Enigmites, you know how we do around here. Thanks for sticking around. That was our take on the Superstition Mountains. If you live near the Superstition Mountains, which I know one of you does, leave us some scary stories in the comments below. Let us know if you know any weird fiduciary out there. Also, again, if you want us to look into something, you want us to check it out, throw it in the comments. I promise I'll read it and we will add it to the list and we will get after it. But do us a favor, get the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. We haven't turned on monetization on this channel. We just want to be able to tell all of our friends that they are losers and we got a YouTube channel. So anyway, so Steve.
Yes, sir.
Got anything, bro?
That's it for me. Another great
All right,
episode.
man, stay warm up there, guys. And you know how we do around here, nerds? That's all you get for $1. And we're out.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.